So I apologize for all the inconvenience before, during, or even after the session. Have a nice day and see you at FarmFest 6.0. Let's go sing Alhamdulillah.
the way religious education is incorporated into the curriculum here.
أحب شيء اللي في هذه الجامعة الناس المخلصين واهتمامهم باللغة العربية الفصحى.
I think the values and the character building approach of Gontor is excellent. It's very strong.
Menarik untuk kita bicarakan pada hari ini mengenai wakaf di Turki yang sekarang ini jumlahnya ada 75 organisasi wakaf dan dulu ada 100.000 lembaga wakaf di Turki.
Istanbul saja.
Di Istanbul saja.
Kalau kita merujuk ke Ottoman sejak awal
universitas yang dibiayai oleh
itu didirikan
ada lagi universitas yang dibiayai
karena pada dasarnya Ottoman itu negara yang operasionalnya dibasiskan atas wakaf itu untuk diaplikasikan di masyarakat kita karena kita miskin hiburan.
Nah, dan di sini kalau nggak salah wakaf bisa membiayai militer kalau salah apa?
Saya ketemu wali santri yang kontraktor itu kan. Dia ngomong begini.
Ada satu hal yang menarik untuk kita bicarakan.
Kalau kita merujuk ke Ottoman sejak awal didirikan kerajaan Ottoman itu karena pada dasarnya Ottoman itu negara yang operasionalnya dibasiskan atas wakaf itu untuk diaplikasikan di masyarakat kita karena kita miskin hiburan.
Nah, dan di sini kalau nggak salah wakaf bisa membiayai militer kalau salah apa?
Saya ketemu wali santri yang kontraktor itu kan. Dia ngomong begini.
Ada satu hal yang menarik untuk kita bicarakan pada hari ini mengenai wakaf di Turki yang sekarang ini jumlahnya ada 75 organisasi wakaf dan dulu ada 100.000 lembaga wakaf di Turki.
Istanbul saja.
Di Istanbul saja.
Istanbul saja.
Oke. Sekarang ini ada universitas yang dibiayai oleh wakaf. Ada lagi universitas yang dibiayai oleh pemerintah dari dana wakaf.
Betul.
Nah, sekarang ini warisan dari mana ini kalau dari Ottomannya itu kira-kira?
Budaya wakaf itu memang sudah berlangsung lama sekali ya. Sejak Ottoman, kalau kita merujuk ke Ottoman sejak awal didirikan kerajaan Ottoman itu karena pada dasarnya Ottoman itu negara yang operasionalnya dibasiskan atas wakaf. Jadi pertama kali Utsman bin Ertuğrul itu membangun negara ini melalui pembangunan SDM-nya, sumber daya manusianya, dan manusia itu dibangun berbasis pada pendatangan ulama. Jadi ulama didatangkan, itu wasiat langsung Utsman kepada Orhan, Prof. Dari situ ulama membina masyarakat, membina pemimpin, membina menteri-menteri dan seterusnya. Makanya dimanapun ulama-ulama kamu jumpai, wahai Orhan, ya, datangkan mereka, kasih kesejahteraan dan ajak mereka membangun negerimu. Nah, itu mulai, Bro. Ya, dan itu dibuktikan Orhan ketika menaklukkan wilayah-wilayah, kemudian dimakmurkan seperti Bursa, Iznik, itu sudah ada sekolah-sekolah, madrasah atau universitas untuk mengajarkan mereka zaman Orhan itu di awal-awal Utsman lagi.
Berarti, ya, berarti ekonomi Ottoman itu berbasiskan wakaf.
Betul, Bro. Betul.
Nah, dalam sejarah peradaban Islam yang dibangun pertama kali oleh Nabi Muhammad, Rasul kita SAW, maka bisa kita lihat tidak pernah ada masalah budget defisit, kekurangan keuangan negara. Padahal kondisi ketika itu sangat krisis kalau kita kontekskan sekarang, perang terus, peperangan terus. Bayangkan ada 100 kali peperangan dalam waktu 10 tahun di Madinah. Tapi tidak pernah
nggak ada krisis itu.
Nggak ada krisis. Defisit negara nggak ada, Ustaz. Karena apa? Ketika negara kekurangan uang, semua masyarakatnya siap untuk memberi. Jadi jiwa memberi ini, dan wakaf ini sebetulnya salah satu bentuk ideal bagaimana masyarakat yang merasa lebih ingin memberhentikan asetnya untuk dirinya, tapi kemudian manfaatnya mengalir kepada yang lain-lain.
Dan di sini kalau nggak salah wakaf bisa membiayai militer kalau salah apa?
Betul, pertahanan negara.
Pertahanan negara.
Ya, defense system.
Sampai sekarang pun?
Iya, sekarang kemarin sama-sama kita lihat bahwasanya tradisi itu diteruskan ya oleh negara Turki Republik sekarang ini. Meskipun tetap basisnya ya belum Islami betul, tetapi kita lihat ya kalau loncatan dari pemerintah sekarang ini kan pengen melihat, mempelajari sejarah, kemudian apa yang membuat Ottoman itu kuat, yang baik-baik itu dipertahankan. Dulu misalnya ada wakaf untuk barak-barak militer menjaga perbatasan negara, kemudian untuk senjata-senjata itu semuanya wakaf. Jadi salah satu aset produktif ya dari wakaf itu ya manfaatnya untuk membeli pertahanan, alat-alat pertahanan negara atau alutsista lah Prof gitu.
Luar biasa.
Jadi di situ masyarakat kan betul-betul cinta negara itu betul-betul berkorban untuk negara nyata. Salah satunya kalau yang muslim juga wakaf.
Pengikatnya itu memang spiritual. Pengikatnya itu adalah kepercayaan kepada Tuhan, atau kalau dalam bahasa kita ada tazkiyatun nafas. Ketika orang didekati dengan itu, maka kebaikan itu akan menjadi sebuah budaya, maka saling memberi itu akan jadi kalau bahasa yang lain ada keberkahan
dari Unisma. Ahlan wasalan.
Kalau saya pengurus di sini Pak Fajar, kayaknya lebih besar Pak Ustadz Fajar ini kayaknya.
Aman Ustadz. Ya, insyaallah nanti kita sesuai dengan arahan dari panitia 8.30 kita akan live begitu. Dan urutan pemateri nanti akan saya antarkan. Pertama nanti dari Pak Rama Yurindra, insyaallah. Kemudian yang kedua 30 menit berikutnya itu dari Pak Hafaz Furqoni. Dr. Hafaz bisa jelas? Oh baik, siap.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Insyaallah tabarakallah.
Ya, Ustaz.
Alhamdulillah. Ini saya backgroundnya kurang pas ini karena di ruang kantor.
Malah lebih cantik kelihatannya.
Baik. Jadi nanti masing-masing presenter kita hantarkan selama 30 menit. Kemudian ada waktu di 30 menit yang keempat nanti question and answer. Karena ini menggunakan Zoom webinar, nanti audiens akan bertanya melalui kolom komentar, kolom chat. Kemudian nanti kami sebagai moderator akan membacakan penanya terbaik yang dipilih oleh masing-masing audiens melalui operator juga. Ada Pak Romawi juga, kemudian ada Ustadz Hafaz Furqoni dan satu workshop. Begitu mukadimah di awal.
Siap, satu aja. Kalau Pak Rama posisi di mana ya?
Saya di Jakarta, Bapak.
Oh, di Jakarta. Berarti kita jauh betul ini ya. Ustadz Hafaz di Aceh, kita di Jawa. Berarti Pak Rama
My name is Kiara. I go to Bucknell University in Pennsylvania. I really didn't know what to expect coming to this university. I had no idea, but I've learned so much from the students, and I've learned so much about Islam, which is something that I haven't had the opportunity to study at school, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to come to Indonesia, is to learn about religions that I was unfamiliar with, and I feel like the students really gave me so many different perspectives. We talked about so many different social issues that I have not spoken about in a religious context, so I learned a lot in that sense.
My name is Marcus Blumenfeld. I'm from California. I go to Occidental College in Los Angeles, and visiting UNITA Guntur, I had an amazing experience. Everyone was incredibly welcoming, and I think that they really kind of embraced us like family, and they gave us so many opportunities to have engaging conversations with the students, increase our skills in Bahasa Indonesia, and really learn like what students' perspectives were of America, and they gave us a really amazing perspective of Islamic life in Pesantren and Islamic University, and I think that was an invaluable experience to me and the rest of the students. So I think in Indonesia I've been studying the differences in environmental perceptions based on religion, so I definitely gained a new perspective on Islamic students' idea of the environment and their ethics surrounding it. So I think that was something I had no idea about, and I learned a lot about.
And just getting to know the students has been really, really enjoyable and heartwarming for me, so I've really enjoyed my stay, and I'm upset that it is so short. I wish we could stay longer.
Recording in progress.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to FICCOMSS 2022. I'm Rega Fajar Hidayat. Allow me please to lead the event in this bright morning as the master of ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, we will start this morning with the last session of this event, plenary session 2. Let us welcome our moderator to lead the session, Mr. Fajar Surya Ari Anggara, MM.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the second plenary session, FemFest International Conference on Economics, Business, Management 2022. My name is Fajar Surya Arianggara, a lecturer in the University of Darussalam Gontor, and I will be serving you as a moderator today. First of all, I would like to welcoming you all to this prestigious conference about financial technology and Islamic social finance amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, as an outline, you'll be hearing a 30 minutes presentation by Mr. Rama Yurindra from Asosiasi Fintech Syariah Indonesia. And the second, Dr. Hafaz Furqoni, Master in Economics from Universitas Islam Negeri Araniri, Indonesia. And the third presenter, Dr. Khairul Umam, Master Economics from University of Darussalam Gontor. And the fourth, question and answer session as long as 30 minutes. Before we get started, I wanted to take a few minutes of your time. As a part of FemFest International Conference on Economics, Management, and Business 2022, we provide you timely topics, interesting speakers. We'd appreciate it if you will fill out the question and answer we provide you on chat space for your questions. Please mention your name, institution, which speaker will you asking for, and write down your question. Please turn this in at the end of the session. Let's start our plenary session. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our first presenter, Mr. Rama Yurindra, currently as a CEO at the PT Sarana Pembayaran Syariah, co-founder of Sidinar Technology, Physical Gold Coin and Blockchain Platform, Certified Investment and Banker, CIB, Certified Financial Planner, CFP, licensed estate planning practitioner that specializes in wealth management with more than 15 years of regional experience as finance and IT entrepreneur specialized in the enterprise IT development life cycles in the Southeast Asian region. He was Deputy Executive Committee of Digital Finance Innovation in Asosiasi Fintech Syariah Indonesia. He will deliver a presentation. Please welcome Mr. Rama Yurindra. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Fajar. Hold on, let me try to share my. Okay. Okay, distinguished guests, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to you all. My name is Rama Yurindra, as mentioned by Pak Fajar. So, as according to the agenda today, I'm going to deliver the first speech today with the topics of financial technology and the Islamic social finance amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Tell you the truth, all of these distinguished guests today are all experts in their field. So mine is just a practitioner on a daily basis. I'm running a fintech company, a Sharia fintech company, which is part of the open banking ecosystem. And we had a lot of exciting activities today with regards to the development of digitalization in all spaces and all. And hopefully with the topics today, I can share a little bit about what we do on day-to-day basis. And not only that, my topics for today is I'm going to share you guys with regards to FICCOMSS profile, how is it on the ecosystem in Indonesia. And the second topic, I would like to talk about the collaborations. A lot of issues that we're trying to solve, but the key point is the collaboration. What kind of collaboration that we do in Sharia FinTech in FICCOMSS, I'll share you a bit about that one. And the topics that I would like to share on today with regards to the case studies is I'm going to share with you what we do in regards to the Islamic social finance and how is it related to fintech and the previous topics that I just mentioned with regards to open banking and fintech collaborations. So these are the 4 simple topics. Actually, I'm not going to talk about a lot of theories and all the experts here are going to be able to present you guys in a proper manner. But again, I'm just a practitioner. So what I do is I'm going to share with you on the day-to-day activities that we've done in the industry. So first of all, what I would like to share with you guys here are the current ecosystem for the Islamic finance in Indonesia. There are 3 components, actually. One is the regulators, the second one is the industry, and the third one is all of us gathered here in each of the associations. For the regulators, we have, of course, Bank Indonesia that helps the monetary regulations. And we have Dewan Syariah Nasional Majelis Ulama Indonesia that holds all the fatwa with regards to the Sharia. And the Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, who's been excellent in delivering all the necessary policy to regulate all these fintech players and all. We've been partnering quite good relationship since 2020, especially here in FICCOMSS. And we have another part of the regulators and governments, which is the Komite Nasional Ekonomi and Keuangan Syariah. We've been quite lucky that part of the KNEKS executive member is also currently a part of FICCOMSS' committee, actually. And the other one is the Bursa, or the stock exchange in Indonesia, which is currently is being part of how's this fintech doing in the investment community, especially in the capital market. We have specifically securities crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding. Some of them are actually governed by the capital market policy in Indonesia, which is run by the IDX, or the Indonesian Stock Exchange, alongside with the OJK. And in the industry, of course, part of the fintech ecosystem, there are Sharia banks currently. It's been exciting to know that currently we have one of the largest banks merging together as one of the biggest banks, Sharia banks in Indonesia, which is not known recently. And they're heading towards becoming a global players in the Islamic banking space, as you all know. And the second one is the non-banking financial institutions, coming from insurance and all of that, and other financial services. And of course, the Sharia capital market is part of the ecosystem. And the last one is us, which is the fintech, Sharia fintech. So we've part of the 4 industries that are hopefully going to strengthen the Indonesian Sharia economy ecosystem. On the association, FICCOMSS is one of the 4 associations that is working with the regulators, especially in the OJK. We have AFTEC, we have AFP, we have AFC, and of course, the last one we just have ALUDI. All of us has been appointed by OJK as the self-regulating organizations to work with the regulators to make the collaborations and the policy getting better, especially for the society here. And in fact, we have other associations that we work in collaboration with. We have ASBISINDO, and we have MES, and the other associations such as IAEI and Asosiasi Asuransi Syariah Indonesia. So in the AFSI ecosystem itself, so we have some of the ecosystem in AFSI are coming from a startup fintech. We have wide range of members in our associations, coming from just a small startups until quite a large banks is actually part of our member. And we have the OJK. We work closely with the Otoritas Jasa Keuangan and Bank Indonesia. We work closely with the SNMUI, KNKS, as I just mentioned, and other institution. Currently, AFSI also work with academic communities coming from universities and other academic institutions. Today is part of the good relationship between AFSI and UNIDA. Hopefully, going forward, we can work more. I'm looking forward to visit UNIDA in Ponorogo, hopefully, if we can have the offline session next time. And of course, we work with other supporting industries such as the EKYC. The KYC business is getting stronger right now. You have digital signature. You have a lot of fintech is actually doing the KYC, and of course the anti-money laundering and all that. That's going to support the industries going forward, actually. So as I just mentioned to you, that AFSI is working closely with the regulators. We've been appointed by Otoritas Jasa Keuangan back in 2020. We become the official SRO, or we called it a self-regulating organizations that works with OJK in developing the industry, like basically, and make sure that everything is complies to the policy that's set by the regulators. And we also in the topics of increasing the customer awareness and also the support, because as you know, there are a lot of problem arises with all these technologies, and we just gathered with OJK last month in Bali just to discuss on how's this policy, how is this related to the customer complaints from the communities, from the users and all. We have to make sure that everything is set properly so that we work together with OJK is really bringing us a good collaboration on how we move the industry going forward. Now, in AFSI, in Asosiasi Fintech Syariah Indonesia, we have a couple of business model, and it's all related to the current licenses and policy that was set by the Bank Indonesia and the OJK. The first one is we have the payment and monetary landscape coming from digital banking, payment clearing and settlements, and we have also the innovation, Inovasi Keuangan Digital, which is run by the OJK. Is called as a sandbox for the fintech to test out their new innovation, and all of that is in the Inovasi Keuangan Digital on the OJK. And we have the current regulations with regards to the peer-to-peer lending that was launched by OJK back in 2016, and we have the equity crowdfunding that was just also launched by OJK in 2018. So what's interesting is that all of this are actually driving the innovation of the current fintech landscape. In BI, they're focusing more to payments and all the monetary policy. Meanwhile, in OJK, they're focusing more on the financial products. With regard to the financial products, the innovation and the technology landscape actually started with OJK launching their policy, which is set as POJK number 77 that was launched in 2016, that drives the peer-to-peer lending industries up until now. The industry has been growing so fast, and some of them are actually having a small bit of a problem, like what we all heard of pinjol on that stuff. But again, it shows that everything moving forward and all the market are actually responding to the innovations and the products that are actually served by all these fintech players, with all the regulating policy that was set by the regulators. And we have also an interesting new policy set by the OJK, which is the equity crowdfunding, and it's now being upgraded into the terms that call securities crowdfunding. Previously is only equity based. Right now, with the securities crowdfunding, you can go for, you can choose between equity or even a sukuk, or we call it Islamic obligations. So that was so exciting, and it's also been the umbrella or the supervisory of this new SCF regulations is actually the IDX and also the capital market ecosystems actually. Now, my area is specifically on the financial innovation. Financial innovation is something that is not governed or regulated under those two things, which is the P2P lending or the securities or equity crowdfunding. Everything else is governed by this financial innovation regulations, which is set on the POJK number 13 in the year 2018. What is inside there? Let me share you a little bit about that later in the slides. Now, what I wanted to show to you is this regulations by OJK. We have POJK number 13 in the year 2018, which is actually being the sandbox of anything else that is not inside the current policy, which is the P2P and the SCF. Currently, if you have new ideas, if some fintech startup wanted to launch some new innovation in regard to the financial services that could add value, they can go into OJK and they could kind of like consult to the OJK, and the OJK will look at whether this business models is actually applied to the existing cluster or not. How is it going to improve? Actually, everything on the innovation ideas right now can be catered into the regulations, but you need to look whether you are actually your business model actually close enough to the existing cluster that was defined by the OJK. Currently, there are around 16 clusters, if I'm not mistaken. Some of them are already removed, but the 16 clusters that are there on the innovation, the financial innovation in OJK is actually ranging from, you can see on the right side, right boxes, there are a couple of clusters, such as aggregator. Aggregator is a platform where you have funding and lending mixing together as a one platform. And you have a financial planner, wealth management. You can do online consultation with regards to your financial planning needs. And you can right now do it using all these platforms. And we have blockchain-based platform. We have innovative credit scoring, which is going to be needed for some of the lending platforms. We have online distress solutions, RegTech, insurance, financing agent, insurance hub, funding agents, which is working together with the banks and all, and also transaction authentication, tax and accounting. InsurTech is also rising right now. Property investment management, EKYC, what I just mentioned, and the wealth tech. All these 16 clusters are actually available in the OJK. So if you have any new ideas that can add value to the financial services industries, you can just come to the OJK and test your business model, whether it's can be applied to the current clusters. So actually, this one is actually driving all the innovation in the financial service sectors, especially in the fintech area. Now, the regulators, as you can see, new technology has been developing on a daily basis. With all these 16 clusters that I just mentioned, there are actually a lot of, I wouldn't say limitation, but you have to make sure that your new technology and your innovation is actually matched with the criteria that are actually set by the regulators. So some of the criteria are, number one, it has to be innovative and it has to be future-looking or forward-looking, basically. And second one, of course, you have to use technology as the primary tools and platform to service the consumer in the financial service space. And secondly, this is very important, especially in the Islamic economy, which is to support the inclusion and the literacy. As what we just recently discovered during the recent paper released by the regulators, the current financial inclusion and the financial literacy in the Sharia economy is so low compared to the national index. So we have to make sure that all these fintech players are going to focus on how to increase the literacy and also to support the inclusion, financial inclusion. As we can see, Indonesia is ranging from a lot of islands spread across all the Nusantara, and it's all challenging for us to give services. And hopefully, with this technology, it could reach out all the consumer in all part of Indonesia. That's one of the challenge, and hopefully, all these fintech players can support that. Next one, of course, has to be it could be widespread use, and it could be integrated to the existing financial services. We have a traditional and conventional financial services that is not run by technology. We could call it manually, and hopefully these technology, new fintech could be integrated into the existing services. That was also one of the topics that I would like to mention to you on the open collaborations that we're going to share later on. And of course, number one, one of the keywords is our collaborations. How are all these fintech can collaborate with the existing players, existing financial services industries, existing banking, and all of that. Hopefully, we can use innovation and collaborations in between all these parties. And of course, the very important part of all these regulators are making sure the customer protection and the data protection is being as the stressing point of all these technologies. As you can see, with all these technologies, all the data can be gathered online. As you can see, by simple mobile phones, all your data or all your behavior can be collected. So regulators are making sure that data privacy and the consumer protections is there in all these fintech innovations. So all these criteria are very important point for all these fintechs to know that they have to comply with all these criteria, basically. So in AFSI, we have a lot of members coming from the startups. Currently, we have peer-to-peer company, we have securities funding companies, we have gold e-commerce, we have accounting system, And other than that, we also, the member of AFSI is not only just the fintech players, but also the Sharia banks coming from Bank Syariah Indonesia, and some of the digital banks such as Aladdin Bank is also part of the members of AFSI, and all the other supporting industries in the academics is also being part of the AFSI communities, basically, and also all the supporting such as the infrastructure, the EKYs and all are being actually part of the AFSI membership. The current statistics in AFSI ecosystem is not really that big compared to the other fintech associations, but again, hopefully we're growing. Currently, we have 36 AFSI member, which are fintech and a fintech company, and some of the honorary members coming from banking industry, and we have 26 fintech member, and 9 of them are actually already licensed or registered in the OJK. So these are the current latest statistics of AFSI. Now, next one is the next topic would be on the collaborations. So the regulators, such as Bank Indonesia, just initiate what we call as the Standard Nasional Open API for the payment industry. This going to drive the open collaborations between the existing financial institution, collaboration with the fintech, or we are all in the Sharia fintech. So this SNAP initiative is good for the collaborations, and the open banking is the keywords for this. So banking, which is usually they're going to be closed. Right now, they're opening up their infrastructure so the other fintech innovation and fintech players can work together, accessing their infrastructure and work together to grow all the platform and the customer reach for the existing ecosystem. This is our very good starting point for us to drive the innovation going forward. So one of the example of what we do in AFSI is we work with the banking industries. Just recently, AFSI just launched initiatives with Bank Riau Kepri, which is you guys will have heard in a probably going to be this month or next month. Bank Riau Kepri is going to convert it 100% to become Syariah Bank. And we have established a collaboration with Bank Riau Kepri to establish what we call as the Sharia FinTech Center in Pekanbaru. Hopefully, going forward, we're going to do a lot of activities there. And I'm one of the, I just recently appointed as one of the members who's going to drive collaborations there in Bank Riau Kepri. Hopefully, we will have some announcement in a couple of months. I'll let you guys know on the progress later on. But this is an example between a good collaboration between the existing banking and the fintech industries. And moving forward into the topics, actually. So what is the relation between all these fintech players, all these initiatives? How is it going to help, the social finances development, Islamic social finance development in Indonesia? Now, what I would like to share is a screenshot coming from a website in Singapore that is called Our Masjid. Is actually, I think it's part of Majlis Ulama in Singapore. So you can see that due to the COVID-19 outbreak, as you can see, the challenge is all of us cannot just simply go to mosque, right? We have some limitations. The government asking us not to go to the mosque because of this COVID outbreak. So again, it brings challenges to the mosque because all these mosques are going to rely on the donation from the people that are actually coming to the mosque. And by the mosque being closed, it means the donation is given less and less. So these are the one of the issues that I would like to share to you guys, which is I think this also happens here in Indonesia, where all the mosques is being told to close their doors. Thankfully, in now upcoming days, everything is going better. But these challenges possess a new thinking in our communities on how, even though that the mosque is not there on physical, but you can actually still use technology to be able to interact with the mosque, as you can say. So these are the topics that I would like to share with you today. How is it the fintech technology and the open collaborations going to support these issues coming forward? So just recently, I would like to share with you that Bank Syariah Indonesia, one of the members of FICCOMSS, and also one of the biggest banks in Indonesia, and also I think the sponsor, I think for today's events as well, just signed an MOU with the Dewan Masjid Indonesia to drive the digital ecosystem landscape in the mosque. As you can see, mosque is part of the larger ecosystem in the Islamic finance. So with the challenge that are currently there coming from the COVID, and also how is it the digital donation can be done in the mosque communities using the mobile banking technology, using the existing technology. These are all going to be being initiated in the Bank Syariah Indonesia, and alongside with the Dewan Masjid Indonesia. And us, on a day-to-day basis, I'm the CEO of PT Sarana Pembayaran Syariah. We are also having formal cooperations with the Bank Syariah Indonesia just recently, a couple of months ago. So what we do is we work together with these Bank Syariah to offer digitalization on the donation in masjid by using the latest technology, which is called the QR Indonesia standard, or we know it as KRIS, an initiative that was actually just recently launched by Bank Indonesia. So just recently, we have been doing a lot of initiatives on implementing this KRIS digital payments on mosque. So how is it going to work? As this one. As you can see, the potential for donation coming from Ziswaf, Zakat, Infak, Sedekah, and Wakaf is huge. As you can see, a lot of paper has been mentioned, the potential in Indonesia. But the challenge is, as you can see, what are the challenges? The challenges are the existing numbers doesn't really match to the current potential. The current existing number of donation and also the other Ziswaf, I think, is relatively small compared to the potential itself. Why is it? I just have this slides coming from one of the C-level member of the Bank Syariah. He mentioned that one of the challenges is because the donation box is so small. So if you have money coming to the mosque, you can imagine how much money you can bring in your wallet, basically. So when you come to the mosque or other places and you wanted to make a physical donation, the box there is only having a bit of a small entry there. So it's not possible for you to donate, more than 1 million, because the amount of money is not really that fit. You have to, put in all those rupiah so many times to be able to fill in that box. So what we do, the initiatives is the banks is actually implementing the CRIS, which is actually are the QR standard for Indonesia, launched by Bank Indonesia. So right now, what you do is on that donation box, you can see the QR ID, and you can just scan it, and you can just pay it with any wallet that you currently existing have. You have e-wallet coming from all those e-money players such as Gojek or even Ovo or even Dana or other like Shopee. You can just scan it, or even you have mobile banking. Right now, mobile banking, you can just do a QR scan, and no matter what kind of mobile banking that you use, some of them are actually supporting CRIS payment. So you can be able to donate straight away, not limited by the amount of physical money that you have in your wallet, basically. So
2 minutes more.
okay, sorry. Okay, so this is what we do. We have collaborations in the mosque space, and right now for all these masjid that has been implementing QR, we have the number. The donation is actually increased by 30%. And it also solved, one of the innovation space is that all these QR can be found on any places. You can just spot the QR using stickers on every homes, and you can just donate it to the masjid using all these QR, and even you can transfer it using a WhatsApp. So all these are going to increase the amount of donation, hopefully going forward. Us and these Sharia banks is actually targeting more than 200,000 mosques this year to be implemented on CRIS and the other initiative as well. And the other initiative as well that I would like to mention with you is the initiative that are actually launched by Komite Nasional Ekonomi Keuangan Syariah. They have a collaboration called Kolaborasi Layanan Keuangan Syariah, KOLAKS, that are the initiatives to you might say to start Sharia financial services based on mosque and also based on pesantren. We work together with the banks. We work together with the Basnas to launch all these services in the pesantren, also in the mosque, to offer savings and transaction, to offer financial, and to offer the ZIS or Zakat Infak and Wakaf. Some of the initiative has been started in some of the pesantren. In here, the example are in Sukabumi and also in Bandung. And as you can see, all these mosques and all these pesantren will establish Sharia financial point, actually, unit layanan keuangan syariah to service the community, to be able to get all the Islamic financial services close to their heart, basically. So all of these are the example of how fintech and collaboration actually drive the innovation and the Islamic social finances and also the Islamic financial services. Hopefully all these cases that I just mentioned can give you guys a bit of a descriptions of what we just recently initiated, and going forward, hopefully these can all solve and improve the value added to the existing infrastructure and to the existing financial services, and hopefully can make Indonesia as one of the top players for the Islamic finance globally. These are my closing statements. If there are any other question, hopefully later on I can answer. Thank you so much for the time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayudindra, to present financial technology and Islamic social finance amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Now, let me introduce our second speaker, Dr. Hafaz Furqoni. He was lecturer on the Faculty of Islamic Economics and Business, UIN Ar-Raniri, Banda Aceh, Indonesia. He also has Sharia Supervisory Board on PT BPRS Mustaqim Aceh. He got Emerald Literary Awards on 2019. That highly commended paper award for the paper Islamic Financial Services Act, or IFSA, 2013, and the Sharia compliance requirements of Islamic financial industry in Malaysia. Published in ISRA International Journal of Islamic Finance, Dr. Hafaz Furqani got certified on Sharia Supervisory Competency Certificate, or we call National Agency Professional Certification, or BNSP, Sharia Board Professional Certification Institute, National Indonesian Ulama Council, or LSP DSN MUI. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Hafaz Furqani, who will speaking to us on entitled Islamic Social Finance in the Era of Fintech on COVID-19, Pandemic Opportunities and Challenges. Dr. Hafaz Furqani, time is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hopefully my voice is clear and you can see my slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, we have listened from Mr. Rama about the development of fintech in Indonesia and how innovation has been done. And actually, after COVID-19, we are as if the human being are forced to become digitalized. So I would say that this is the era of Homo digitalicus, because a human being are now become living in the digital, in the complex digital system, and we are forced to deal everything with the digital, including in terms of studying and learning. We are forced now to study in the digital and then to do business in digital and etc. So human beings currently become Homo digitalicus. And actually, this is the challenge for us. Not only the challenge, we can also see some opportunities for human being to develop, including in terms of Islamic finance. So the era of digitalization open new opportunities for Islamic finance, open new opportunities for Islamic economy as well. And this is the topic that I'm going to share with you, about the financial innovation in the digital world, what will be the opportunities and what will be the challenge for Islamic economic community, and some conclusions later on. Okay, if we see the development of Islamic finance, basically Islamic finance start in 1970s with the first Islamic banking in Dubai Islamic Bank, and then IDB Islamic Development Bank in 1975. And then later on, Islamic finance grow and becomes a global industry. So currently, the audience of Islamic finance industry is not only Muslims, but it also includes non-Muslim and even the Western countries. So they also have open Islamic bank, and they also play with the Islamic shares and etc. So now the Islamic finance is now becomes more integrated with the global financial systems. And the challenge for Islamic finance is that with this new era of industrial revolutions of 4.0 and now it goes to 5.0, it's about the financial innovations. So just now we have heard that so many innovations has been done, and this is just to prepare ourselves to meet the challenges and to be able to compete later on in the global financial integration. If we see maybe in the past 10 years or in the past maybe 10 years, so it is a very simple transactions. So we go to the bank and then we do many transactions by cash. But now the transactions become more complicated and more sophisticated with the latest technology. So financial innovations have been attempted, and this would help a human being to do many activities, many financial arrangements in an efficient and effective way. Financial innovations involve all aspects of from the design and then including the process and the services. So we see in the last 5 years maybe, we see many radical changes in our life. And in the past 3 years after COVID, during the pandemic COVID-19, so it is not only radical, but it is extreme, very extreme changes we have experienced in the last three years. I quote here research by Ernst and Young, 2015, 2015, when the digitalization has just started. So it drives about 12% of total global trade. So 12% of global trade has been driven by the digital services. But now I believe if we do the survey for 2021, maybe it's about 90% of global trades have been driven by digital. So we see the extreme changes currently in the era of digital. And currently, the digital platform have also transformed. Wait a minute.
Dr. Hafaz Rufani. Assalamualaikum. Dr. Hafaz Rufani. Assalamualaikum. Dr. Hafaz Rufani, are you still there? Okay, let me asking for the committee to get a contact with the Dr. Hafaz Furqani. Is it any problem there that we need to help or handle? Okay. All right. I think there is a little problem with the Dr. Hafaz Furqani. Okay. as a committee said, told to us that Dr. Hafaz Furqani already handled. Okay. Okay, Dr. Hafaz Furqani asked to please waiting for a moment. All right, for audience, if you have any questions, you can write down your full name and your institution. Also, you can add the which speaker will you asking for, and write down your questions. The question and answer chat box as provided by a Zoom webinar. We still get in contact with the Dr. Hafaz Furqani because it told us to waiting for a moment. Okay. For the recent update, Dr. Hafaz Furqani already tried to rejoin with us again. For the audience, please enjoy the rest for a while. Yeah. Just relax and enjoy the coffee. Okay. Recent updates, Dr. Hafaz Furqani try to rejoin with us again. Okay, Dr. Hafaz Furqani. Welcoming you back. Dr. Hafaz Furqani?
Mohon maaf,
Okay.
Pak. Ya.
Alright.
Oke, tapi masih ada masalah ini kayaknya. Boleh mungkin lanjut dulu Pak Khairul Umam ya.
Okay. Before I started to giving Dr. Khairul Umam deliver, I need to confirm to the Dr. Khairul Umam because due to the have a trouble in the Dr. Hafaz Furqani connection. Are you ready to continue the presentation, Dr. Khairul Umam?
Inshallah.
All right. Okay. Because there was a little trouble with the Dr. Hafaz Furqani connection, we will rolling. Let me introduce about the recent speakers, Dr. Khairul Umam. He was Deputy Rector, Unit Gontor for Partnership, Research, Community Service, and Alumni, almost 9 years as the Director of Lembaga Amil Zakat Infak, Sedekah, and Wakaf, called Laziswaf, University of Darussalam Gontor. He also senior researcher on the University of Darussalam Gontor with some masterpiece has published, such as Al-Qiyam Al-Islamiyah fi Al-Idarah, Fiat and Commodity Money, a debate among scholars towards sustainable development and Islamic economics approach, Murabahah in Indonesia, AFTA and Asian international trade, and the 6 determinants of economic growth in China. Please give a big round of applause to invite Dr. Khairul Umam, who will be speaking to us on entitled Financial Technology and Islamic Social Finance Amidst the COVID-19 Pandemic, a special analysis from Islamic worldview on men. Dr. Khairul Umam, time is yours, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Honorable speakers, moderator, and honorable dear audiences, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in amma ba'du. In this very special moment, I would like to talk about this theme with a different perspective to complete the discussion. Of course, Pak Rama is specialist in talking about the current development of fintech and how this fintech also helping very much in Islamic crowdfunding and so on. Ustad Hafaz has been also a little, but we can know is also strengthening about this, and he will talk about the challenge and the opportunities. Here, I would like to see to make it a complete discussion, which is we believe that we are Islam and being mu'min, and with the Islamic teachings, we are actually ready to face any kinds of uncertainty, any kinds of pandemic, and we are as Muslim, the characteristic of Muslim is creative, innovative, which is we are very near to financial technology, and then one characteristic of being mu'min is we are social oriented people. So from this point, I would like to analyze how Islam talking about man and the difference when we understand about men compared to, like, for example, capitalism, socialism, it will have a very big difference in when we are talking about financial technology, we are talking about Islamic social finance, especially when we are facing like this kind of pandemic, which is like Dr. Hafaz say, extreme, very extreme. But it actually is not really too extreme if we are comparing to the period of our Prophet, for example. In our Prophet, in the 10 years last of his da'wah in Medina, there are 100 wars, and we can see war is more, I mean, it is not just like this pandemic, it is not normal situation war, and it is 100 wars, then almost 1 month there is war. But again, when we see the condition of our Prophet and his companions, the main activity of our Prophet is teaching. The main activity of our Prophet is education. And then from the hadith we can see there is no any person who is what we can say. They are saying, "Oh, I cannot live. I'm afraid of this life. I desperate." There is no kind of that. What we see, they are really live enjoyful life. They are sharing together. They are giving together. There is no any problem between rich and poor and so on and so on. So why this all happening and was happened and continued by the history of Islamic civilization? It is because based on Quranic worldview, based on Islamic worldview, seeing this world, seeing this life, seeing what is man, and so on and so on. The topics today is actually, for me, we are talking about three things. Financial technology means it is about creativity, it is about innovative, and Islamic social finance it is about social orientations. So it will be very problematic if we don't have, for example, in capitalist worldview, when they are just promoting self-interest. So it is very difficult for them to think about the social orientation. It is why wakaf, zakah, and it is very easy for financial technology today to create, to make easy anybody to share with others, because we have this kind of social orientation. And COVID-19 pandemic, actually for me, it is about the uncertain condition. So when we are talking about men, what we need is men, society who are creative, innovative, and having high social orientation, and again, strong, never giving up. It is what we need. When we have this man, when we have the family by this characteristic, when we have society by this characteristic, the technology, social, and uncertainty will be easily faced, and the technology will be triumph with these characteristics of man society. Let me start from the capitalism worldview, which is, of course, we know together, it started from the age of, they are saying, the Enlightenment age. Actually, it is the age when the people in Europe are living religion. I'm writing here, man is spirited from God. In other words, it is about secularism. It is about secularization. Because of that, when the man is now spirited from God, and then who is deciding the values? Who is deciding good and bad? And then finally, humanism, men who decide values, not God anymore. Because of they don't really relate it to God again, they don't really relate it to hereafter, and then materialism become the basics idea of them. Matter is then the measure of everything. Talking about happiness is in terms of matter. Talking about everything in terms of matter. Today, when we are talking about welfare, when we are today talking about the welfare of the nation, we are simply, we reduce this discussion on the matter, just about the matter. It is why we find there are very developed country, high economic growth, but again, they have a problem in social, in humanity, and so on. Finally, because of there is no God orientation, there is no hereafter orientation, and then what is good, what is bad, utilitarianism is the basis. Good man is who strive for his utility, bad man who does not strive for his utility. So, Siddiq, honesty is not bad or good. It's not good or bad. Honesty is good whenever it is good and has utility, has profit, has benefit to men. And honesty is bad when it has no any benefit to men. It is the values that we find today based on this secular worldview. Finally, in social life, social Darwinism become the basis. Life is just like is full competition. The winner take the prize, the winner take the prosperity, and the lost they deserve the misery. Yes, because we are in the competition. It is your mistake if you don't win, and so on and so on. By this worldview, yes, man is creative, man is innovative. We can see in the history of capitalism. in the history of the modern economy. Yes, but man has no social responsibilities as well as environment worth one. This is why now we are talking about sustainable development. Now we are facing environmental crisis. Now we are facing, later on I will show that the priorities in SDGs is still poverty, is still about hungry, and then we can see today we are proud with this economic system, but again, the main priorities of SDGs still about poverty, still about hunger, and so on and so on. It means that there is really a big problem in this kind of economic system. And why is all about it? Is because the worldview is the capitalism worldview, the secular worldview is about. Man's mentality is actually is not strong because the orientation is word. When they don't get this word, so they will be very weak, and we can see there are many who end life because they didn't get the word, they go at the material purpose that they want. Finally, we can see from the capitalism, from the capitalist economic, they make the class of societies, bourgeois versus proletariat. They have humanity and environmental studies. And again, finally, they change the system, become welfare state. But again, this welfare state still has a big problem in equalities and humanity and so on. Socialism is not really different from the capitalism one because both are based on secular worldview, but they are more extreme because man has no God, and then they are anti-religion. Humanism is still the belief, materialism is also socialism, and then social orientation, but again by eliminating the self-interest, because they believe human is self-interest. Because of that, they cannot like the laissez-faire, like the capitalism. We have to eliminate the self-interest and change by force to social interest. Because of this system, man is not creative, innovative. Yes, social responsibilities are achieved by force, but actually about the mentality is the man is not strong because they are still worth life and so on. So it is, we can see in the socialist economic, the creativity and innovation are encouraged, social interest is achieved, but again, there are many cases they have failed production and then leads to another social problems. And we can see the right of man is a big issue in the country which is using this socialist or this socialism worldview. How about the Islamic worldview? The worldview of us, the worldview of mu'min. In Islam, man is Abdullah, and it is very high. You know, Abdullah. And then there is no above us except Allah. It is why we are Abdullah. But today, when we are not Abdullah, so then human thinks that I am above another human. I deserve more than another human. It is when man is not Abdullah. It's why there is kind of like Fir'aun, Namrud, and we can see today the rich, for example, they think that they deserve more of this world from others because they think we are the winners, we are the creative people, we are the innovative one, we deserve that, and you are the losers, you deserve the misery. So it is because the minds, the worldview is not Abdullah. The second is man in Islam is Khalifatullah fil Ard, the vicegerent of God. It is really the place, very high position of men in this world, in this life given by the God. But unfortunately, the capitalism, socialism, and we can see in our economics, for example, man is reduced, just become the factor of production. We are like capital, we are like land, and so on and so on. So the creativity, if the mentality of that, the mentality of man not become the Khalifatullah fil ard. When the man thinking that I am just a worker, I am just the officer, so it is impossible. This man is creative, is innovative. The creative, innovative man is just the man who believes that yes, I am the firstborn of God. God give everything to me, and I can make something in this world. Man in Islam is also not in the materialism perspective, which is just like bodily man. Man in Islam, ruh and body, and ruh can control body. It is why when we are talking about happiness, the happiness is not just about bodily happiness. Happiness is actually not even something materialism. Happiness is something which is unseen. It is in Islam. Man is ruh and body. Man, because of Abdullah, because of Khalifatullah fil ard, man has to do justice to himself, his family, his society, his nation, and again to all creatures of God. World, according to mu'min, to the man in it, to the Muslim, is just the medium for the hereafter. So we have to do our best here in this world. Do anfa'uhum linnas. Do as best we can, because rizq is guaranteed by God. Our only duty is just to be innovative, to be creative, in order to be able to serve as much as we can this world, as much as we can societies and so on. It is mu'min, it is the characteristics of a man who has the Islamic worldview. So by this, man will be creative, innovative, and again, man has social responsibilities as well as environment what wants. Man's mentality is essentially is very strong, because mu'min orientation is hereafter. When we are facing something not nice in this world, we still have we still have our hopes in hereafter. We can remember about the story of Hamka, Buya Hamka, when he was taken to the jail, and more than 2 years, finally, because he's still mu'min, he has the very strong Islamic worldview, he can face this problem, and again he can produce very valuable books, which is Tafsir al-Azhar in this jail. So it is mu'min. There is no misery in this world. Mu'min is always joyful. Mu'min, like the Quran say, Inna awliya Allah la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun. No fear, no sadness. In the pandemic, mu'min has no sadness. We are still positive thinking. We still always see there are always solution in every problem. Inna ma'al usri yusra. It is the mindset. It is what we are thinking. It is why when we find someone has in the misery, when the pandemic, he is really not really has a positive thinking, not optimist but pessimist, we believe that this man has a problem in his worldview, in his the basic concept of the Islamic teaching. And then pandemic is not big problem. Finally, mu'min, we always thinking to be creative and always thinking how to help others, how to help the relative and so on. Today, like what I'm saying, when we are talking about sustainable development goal and why the word promoting the sustainable development goals, and actually since 1917 is actually they are talking about sustainable development economics, environmental studies. Because of why? the capitalists, the capitalism worldview, producing capitalist economic system, they are producing this problem. They are producing this humanity problem. Poverty, the big issues, zero hunger, the very big issues when we see like countries in Africa, for example, it is really seeing that we are not caring each other. We are developed ourselves, but not thinking about others. It is why poverty is still a big problem today in this modern. We say that we have a very good economic system and so on. Poverty is still number one. Hunger number two. Health is number three. We cannot imagine. In our last history in Islamic civilization, in Turkey Uthmani, in the Ottoman Empire, for example, we still remember the history of a man from Germany coming to the Ottoman and taking medicine, come to the hospital finally, and then his father sent a letter to him, how much money I have to send to you to pay the medicine in Ottoman. And he replied, no father, I need not any money, because here in the Ottoman, everybody coming to the hospital, it is free, and then we are paid in a days that we are treated in the hospital. And finally, when we are coming out from the hospital, we are given the clothes by the hospital. We can imagine that. And we will never see this in this today economic. We have today BPJS, for example, we have to pay, we have to do everything by force. But again, in the Islamic history, social is not by force. Individuals are really becoming the social at the same time. In the capitalism worldview, in the socialism worldview, they have no that idea. They just thinking if man is only self-interest, man is impossible to be social interest. It is the worldview. It is why the economic system is like that. And whatever it is, whatever sustainable development goals they are promoting, since the worldview is like that, since the worldview is just this worldly social Darwinism is the basis, this sustainable developments will be remain dreams and dreams. But when we change, and then mu'min who really make more mu'min joining the economy, more mu'min having more doing better works in the economy, these goals will be achieved easily in not very difficulty. Joseph Stiglitz, for example, said, today in America economy, they really have a problem in inequalities. While income at the top has been rising, the average income of the bottom 90% has been stagnating. It is America economic system. Yeah. In the statistic we can see here, it is the average income of 1% of USA citizens. And it is the stagnant of the 90% of the people there. So inequalities is the problem there. Because since self-interest is the mindset, social interest will never be gained, even though, yes, they force the tax today. But of course, self-interest people, the individualism will thinking about how I can without paying a tax, and I can manipulate a tax, and so on and so on. So because of this worldview, so the problem will be just remaining like this. So now we have to do also the muhasabah to us as a Muslim. Why? And today, we are remaining like this. We cannot change this world better. Still, we have the problem of humanity, the problem of environmental, the problem of poverty, the problem of hunger. Why? In 1990, Sheikh Mutawalli Sha'rawi was asked by Orientalists about Surah An-Nisa 141. The Orientalists say, is it correct, ya Sheikh? وَلَا يَجْعَلِ اللَّهُ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ سِبِيلًا. The meaning is, Allah will never give to the unbelievers to be control mu'minin. And the Orientalists say, but the fact, ya Sheikh, today mu'min is controlled. Today mu'min is, the Islam is controlled, the Muslimin. So the very interesting point that Syekh Mutawalli answer is, yes, but you see here in the verse, the verse is talking about mu'minin. It is not Muslimin, he asked. It is about mu'min. And you have to understand the difference between Muslim and mu'min. It is why we have three stages in our religion: Islam, Iman, Ihsan. We still remember when the villagers, the Badui, come to Rasulullah, say, Ya Rasul, we have been mu'min. So the Quran, the verse is then Allah has in the verse, no, you are not mu'min, you are still Islam. So it is what we have to really thinking. The worldview mean that the main concept about who we are, what is our duties, what is the purpose of life. The mu'min worldview, when the mu'min worldview then becoming the motor, becoming something who make our amal, we have our deed, it is based on our worldview, based on our iman, and then we are becoming mu'min. But unfortunately today, mostly maybe we are doing Islam, but mostly not based on the beliefs, not based on the basic belief, basic Islamic worldview on the world. It is why, for example, there are many verses. Yes, Fajar, how many minutes?
2 minutes more.
2 minutes. Okay, I
Thank you.
will end. I think.
Yeah.
Yes. The next slide, I will end my presentation. Sure. It is why in many hadiths in Rasulullah always say, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyakul khairan aw liyasmut. Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyukrim dhaifahu." Who believe in God hereafter, he should really best person to his neighbors, best person to his society, best person to others. Iman produce akhlaq, iman produce ihsan. So it is what we have to do. And again, unfortunately, the modern education treat us not as Khalifatullah Fir'aun. We are treated as just the factor of production. Unfortunately, we have many schools, but unfortunately these schools treat the student just the factor of production. The mindset is how to produce workers. By this educational system, it is impossible to create creative, innovative people. But in Islam, we should create, we should treat our student as Abdullah, Khalifatullah. Human is very special, and so on and so on. And lastly, when we are seeing in Gontor, for example, the students are really treated as Khalifatullah. They are trusted to handle many things. By this, creative, innovative, subservience will be very easily got, and we men are really ready to face any uncertainty because we are creative, innovative, and again, we are ready to serve the ummah. Bila taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jazakumullah khair. Dr. Khairul Umam already presents about the special analysis from Islamic worldview on a man. Barakallahu fikum, Doctor. And due to the Dr. Hafaz Furqani already with us.
Yeah.
All right. All right, please give a warm welcoming back Dr. Hafaz Furqani, who will be speaking to us on a title Islamic Social Finance in the Era of FinTech and COVID-19 Pandemic, Opportunities and Challenges. Let's continue. Dr. Hafaz Furqani, 10 minutes for you. Time is yours, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Kindly apologize for something happened with my laptop just now. Okay, I just continue. Actually, Dr. Khairul Umam has explained a lot what I need to explain. Yeah? This is the idea of Homo Digitalicus, as I mentioned just now, that we are now in the era of digital and now becomes a digital man. And hopefully, with the Islamic worldview, we can become a digital Islamic man, or Homo Digitalicus Islamicus, like something like that. Maybe Dr. Khairul Umam. And if we see the need, our need as Muslims, this is the opportunity for us, global halal economy, and we will also do digitalization in all these sectors, from food, finance, clothing, and then tourism, media, pharmaceutical, and also cosmetic. So these are the opportunity for us, and then the challenge also for Islamic digital to take this opportunity and then to do digitalization. The opportunity is about 5.1 billion US dollars. 5.1 billion US dollars from where Indonesia has become the what is called as the consumer for halal products. So we import from the outside to fulfill our demand for the halal products, and it's about 5.1 billion. We have imported all this, and actually, if we can become halal producers, for our domestic only, we can do import substitution for 1 billion, and the rest is to meet our demand, and we can also do export our halal products. And fintech play a role in improving fulfilling the halal needs, not only in finance aspect but also in food, in etc. Okay, so since we are Muslims, and we needs are different with the non-Muslim, with the rest. Our fintech is not only to fulfill the needs for transfer payment, for top up, for e-commerce, and so on. So our needs are more than that. And Dr. Khairul Umam has mentioned just now about the Islamic man, and Mr. Rama also has explained how innovation has been done to fulfill our needs. So we also need we also have spiritual needs. We also have social needs for zakat, infak, and sedekah. So Alhamdulillah, our fintech has adopted these needs in their development. So if we open, for example, Islamic bank applications, so we see all these needs are in our mobile phone currently. So we can just do we can just choose what types of fintechs that we need to fulfill our spiritual needs, social needs, and financial needs as well. And if we go back to KNEKS and see their master plan, so in the KNEKS master plan, fintech is believed can boost national halal economy. So in the national halal economy framework, fintechs would open more opportunities, and then it will create enables to boost Indonesian halal productions and eventually will boost Indonesian halal economy. But there are some challenges. There are some challenges. For example, the implementation of the digital strategies. So just now I have trouble with my laptop. So Mr. Rama also believes that there are some troubles with the digital era. So this needs our preparation, how to solve this kind of problems. And then lack of convenience and simplicity. So the millennials now asking for more efficiency, for more faster, and for more simple. So this should be kept in mind for those who are developer of fintech, especially in the Islamic finance, because we have so many needs just now, as I mentioned. So this will create more complex fintechs. So I'm afraid that we'll be less competitors, less compete with the others, because the other fintech just focus on financial fintechs or financial needs. Meanwhile, us, we have to focus, we have also to cover social needs and spiritual needs. And then, the challenge will be for the small players. In this regard, if we see here, the small bankers, the small banks, they will be not able to compete with the large bank in terms of financial innovations. And UMKM also, UMKM or SMEs, small and medium scale enterprise. It is very difficult for them to compete with the large multinational corporations in terms of financial technology development. So how we can solve these problems? Mr. Rama maybe has an answer for this. How we can help also UMKM, and then he can also help small banks and BPRS or Baitul Mal Wat Tambil, so that they can compete with the big bank. In terms of regulatory environment, our regulatory environment also currently is still pro to the big players. There are some limitations has been put in our regulation for BPR or for BMT if they want to develop further their financial technology development. And then limited technology support. So Alhamdulillah, we have AFSI, Asosiasi Fintech. So this AFSI maybe we will help develop, or we will assist the development of UMKM, and then maybe a small bank as well. And then organizational and culture. So with COVID-19, we are forced to become digitalized. So everybody now very smart because they are using smartphone. So it is now no longer become harder, or no longer becomes a challenge for us. And even kids, they are good also in fintechs, and elders also. Now they can understand smartphone, and then they can use many applications in their phones. So I can see more opportunities rather than challenges currently, because in the past 3 years, we have been forced to understand digital and to use the digital, and to become familiar with any types of applications. So for the conclusions, Islamic finance, being a new perspective in understanding finance and alternative to capitalist financial systems, is also expected to answer to the latest development of financial technology. So Islamic finance should also follow and able to compete in their digital services, not to be lag behind the conventional finance. But there are opportunities for Islamic finance to offer a new perspective and a distinct product that conventional finance is unable to offer it. Such as Islamic finance can offer fintechs to fulfill the needs of social needs, for zakat, infak, sedekah, and wakaf, and all that, and to also fulfill the spiritual needs, for the masjid and etc. So these are the distinct, the unique feature of Islamic finance that could make Islamic finance become bigger and bigger. So there are a lot of potentials that need to be tapped for Islamic finance industry players, including the fintech players. And with that, that's all. I think my presentations, because I just continue the disrupted just now, and kindly apologize for the what happened in the first part of my presentations. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you a lot, Dr. Hafiz Furqani. Jazakumullah khair. Actually, we got a lot of terms today. Homo digitalicus and Islamicus. Yeah, yeah, we got a lot of terms today by Mr. Rama Yurindra. We got Sharia Finance Economics as Social and Spiritual Services with Complete Financial Services. And we got new term from Dr. Hafiz Furqani that Islamic social finance being a new perspective in the understanding finance and alternative to offer something new in financial dealings. And from Dr. Khairul Umam, Pancajiwa consists of sincerity, simplicity, self-reliance, Islamic brotherhood, and independence. Well, I'll be praised to Allah. All speakers give their best presentation today. Thank you very much for all presenters for a lot of informative and interesting talk. In this occasion, we shall have outstanding presentation from our prominent presenters, whom I believe shall enrich our insight and knowledge regarding the theme of the conference. Now, move to the question and answer sessions. Yeah. In the chat box, ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the question and answer session. Now, I will try to read in the question and answer box that committee try to help the audience from Mr. Ahmad Suminto. I think it's for all presenters, to all presenters, because there's nothing additional information. But I think for Dr. Hafiz Furqani, also Dr. Khairul Umam, also Mr. Rama Yurindra, the question from Mr. Ahmad Suminto is, to what extent Muslim as a Khalifah can influence to create an Islamic fintech financial technology environment in 100%, while the challenge from the Western are more increasing since they master in technology? Okay, maybe for the first, Mr. Rama Yurindra can answer this question. I think it's for all presenters. The question is, to what extent Muslim as a Khalifah can influence to create an Islamic financial technology environment, while the challenges from the Western are more increasing since they master in technology? Mr. Rama Yurindra.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, anytime.
So this is an interesting question. So let me share you a bit of my background. Again, as you all know, we are Indonesian, but actually for the past 15 years on my IT journey, I actually learned from foreign companies. I closely work with a Japanese company, and I actually work with the US company. But again, with regards to the question, how is it us as a Muslim growing the technology, is actually depending on us, because once you are in the technology space, as you can see right now, with the technology available, actually, what kind of background? I mean, again, in my personal opinion, because I'm Indonesian and I work with these two major global players, they don't see me as Indonesians, actually. They don't see me as Indonesian, so they look at your skill, your technology, your perspective, your vision, how strong it is. Now, our time right now in Indonesia, we are the largest Muslim country in the world. I think we can drive innovation going forward. There has been a lot of initiatives started with the existing governance, such as from the banking industries, fintech, as I just mentioned you, with all the regulators. And right now, I think it's time for the pesantren and Islamic universities to be involved in the industry to drive innovations. That's why in AFSI we have we our challenges is how these knowledge and these issues can be shared together with all the academic institutions. Academic is actually part of the industries. And so we wanted to drive more research together on how to solve day-to-day life. So I think no matter whether they're most Western countries are more advanced, trust me, right now, as you can see, we have a lot of unicorn. Western countries never think of Ojek can become a unicorn company. Right now is becoming they're going to go IPO. They're going to scale largely. It shows, it proves, and some of the companies, unicorn company, actually run by Muslims, right? And I think right now with all these technologies, everything is so open. So what the keywords right now, I think it's more to innovation and experience. How are we going to solve everyday problem with technology? And I don't see that. I believe that in the near future, Indonesia can become one of the driving force to drive Islamic technologies. I wouldn't say just financial technologies. There are so many ecosystems in the Islamic space, in the Sharia space that we can grow into, and I think Indonesia can drive this one forward. We have to work together. I think we have to work together between organizations, between stakeholders. I think that's my answer. I'm sure that I don't see the threat as those Western countries are more advanced. We can catch up with them because the thing is right now, all of these, brainware are going back to Indonesia because right now so many unicorns, so many digital ecosystem has been here. So many Indonesian, even working in Silicon Valley right now is going back to Indonesia, and they won't because everything is happening in Indonesia. So I think that's from my perspective. Personal perspective, anyway.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramayurindra. We are a Muslim warrior in the Islamic social finance. Inshallah, we'll catch up, about this opportunity. Okay, same question to the Dr. Hafaz Furqani from Ahmad Suminto. How about your perspective? To what extent Muslim as Khalifah can influence to create an Islamic financial technology environment, while the challenges from the Western are more encouraging since they are master in technology?
Yeah, I also have the same opinions with Mr. Rama about this. Being a Muslim, it is not what is called a hurdle for us to win this competition. And in fact, we can do it better than the West. Provided that we have the keyword just now is synergy among us, and then we work together, and we see the others as not competitors, not as competitors, but as partners, as partners to develop Islamic finance, especially Islamic social finance. So we have proven by showing a lot of innovations, especially in Indonesia. And maybe in the last 10 years, nobody believed that Indonesia will be able to do like this. But in fact, we have proven that we can do it. And I believe in the next 10 years, maybe with the rise of millennials, we can do better than the West. And this is the era for Asia to show to the world that in the fintech, in the digitalization, we can offer better perspective or better alternative and better practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hafaz Furqani. Same question from Mr. Ahmad Suminto. to Dr. Khairul Umam to what extent Muslims as a Khalifa can influence to create an Islamic financial technology environment, while the challenges from Western are more increasing since they are master in technology. Dr. Khalid Umam, your perspective, please.
Yes, I just want to add a little because Pak Rama and Dr. Hafaz has discussed that. First, what I note here from the question, when we say because they master, it is not really correct when we are saying that because they are mastering the technology. We can see in the Silicon Valley, for example, mostly are from the Asian, mostly from the India, from China. So it is not about that. It is about the situation. It is about the condition. It is about how United States of America open the freedom, and it is the characteristic of Khalifatullah fil Ard is actually the characteristic of the being the caliph. It is why Muhammad Abdu in the late 70s say, Ra'aitul Islam fi Europa wa ma ra'aitul Muslimin. I see Islam in Europe, but I don't see Muslim. And again, I don't see Islam in the Muslim countries, but I just see Muslim. But of course, this is not about that. It is just about something that we Muslim who has to really open the creativity. Khalifatullah mean it is like in Gontor, we have the spirits of Gontor. In the last spirit is freedom. Freedom means that we, man, is free to do something, giving something to this world, because the amanah for every man, every mu'min is that. So when we mu'min understand the concept of caliph, and also we understand how to educate our Muslim, our children, our students to become the caliph. So yeah, we will really has the biggest opportunity to make a better in this kind of technology. My last point is it is about the concept of the vicegerent, the concept of caliph. It is very big concept, but sometimes we are in our educational system. It is why Ismail Rajil Faruqi, Prof. Alatas see the problem in our Islamic education. The problem is in our education. And again, the problem in the knowledge itself. It is what? Because we are now, our education is not really based on Islamic value, Islamic worldview, and we are not developing our educations to really treat our students to become has a proper Islamic worldview, which is, and then he can really read it to serve the ummah. And the last, I remember the concept of baligh in Islam. Baligh mean we are ready to not really with our parents. We are ready to serve the ummah and not me and God. Me and God. This baligh. And this concept of baligh is very, very high concept, because we have to prepare our children when he become the baligh, sometime in 12 years, sometime in 13 years, sometime in 15 years. They have to be ready in this ummah. They have to be ready to become the caliph. But unfortunately, our education is not that. Our education is not make our children is ready in their baligh to become the caliph. And we see in another place, like for example, our brothers in Chinese brothers, they treat their children becoming ready even since they're just in childhood. So there are many things we miss Islamic teachings in many things in our life. Yes, I think it is.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Khairul Umam. And The next participants come from Mr. Ahmad Hayat. Yeah, we'll be asking to Mr. Rama Yurindra. Yeah, I give the brief. Some of the examples that you mentioned earlier show the best practice of how Islamic social finance tries to use the benefits of technology in its implementation. Then what about the commercial one? This is the sub question. Several issues surface. In addition, the issue of is it really Sharia-based product, such as the emerge from several criticism of the grassroots Muslim community. Another issue that surfaced was the issues of pricing. Islamic banks, for example, are considered more expensive. Some even call them the same as conventional banks and even more cruel. What appears on the surface is a real criticism from community who actually wants a Sharia entity that really fights for establishing justice and fairness in a substance sense. How does Mr. Rama see the issues? To what extent can technology adoption bridge this emerging tension? Mr. Rama Yurindra.
Okay. Well, that's a very, very nice question. Really, very, very nice question. Number one is what? Okay, that's on social finance. How is it the commercial one? Yeah. Again, as what Dr. Hafaz Furqani on that one slide is actually coming on from a slide from Bank Syariah Indonesia. I think it's there in the slide, where there is a social and the financial side. That was the beauty of the Sharia compared to the conventional. Social responsibility is part of the commercialization of the Sharia ecosystem. That's what makes it beauty. It's not even, we don't, that's why we don't call it a donation, right? It's part of it, which is zakah. It's part of the commercial thing. So again, that was the beauty of the Islamic finance, where we don't have it in the other. Again, if you mention this is the social, which one is the which one is the commercial one? It's part of the commercial. Banks and fintech are actually one of the business model is we got revenue from fee-based transactions. So we don't charge the fee-based transaction on the donation, but we charge the fee-based transaction on the commercial transactions, such as buying and selling using the QRS and other stuff. So actually, it's been growing in the commercial space for the Islamic financial transaction. Yes, we have less players right now, as you can see in the payment space, payment gateway, or even some players in. If you can look at Islamic Sharia wallet, we have few Sharia wallet right now growing. But not compared to the big players, but it's growing right now. And the digital banks in Sharia is also growing right now. So all of them are not social enterprises. They are all commercial enterprises, which has social value because it's part of the Sharia. So I would say that the example for the commercial one is we can see the financial services ranging from savings and financing into fee-based transaction, into investment. We have Sharia investment, which is all are governed by and has to comply with the Sharia law and anything that is fatwa by the Dewan Sharia Nasional. Second one, very good question with regards to whether Islamic services, especially in banking and other financial services, is considered as there are actually two topics. One, it's considered more expensive, and the other one, whether it's really Sharia compliance in a way. Why is the grassroots communities in the Islamic space are actually rejecting it? Yeah, that's also a good question. Number one, Sharia community or Sharia industry in Indonesia is just a growing industry. We have to give it a space, as a lot of ulama has mentioned to us. We have to start one. We have to start. I think in Dr. Hafaz Aceh is beautifully, implementing the Qanun. it's so beautiful where all the financial players has to comply with the Sharia law and all. It drives something, and I think a lot of innovation later on will come from Aceh and other part of Indonesia, that it's going to try to copy what happened in Aceh. And again, some of the ulama I just mentioned are, we have to start. Don't just I mean, kata-kata don't jelek-jelekkan the start. We just balita, we just starting it. So we have to give it a space, and of course, kita harus berjamaah together, right? To making sure that everything is doing it properly. Again, there are a lot of challenges because usually we're not used to having an Islamic thing or Sharia services. So we have, I mean, from the government's perspective, they have to change some laws that have been there for so many years, step by step, without causing some damage or even a systematic problem. That's one of the issues that are making it how, yes, it's not yet perfect compared to other countries, but we're starting it. So give it a space, try to be collaborative by giving a positive input on how we can improve. Because that's why we have so many associations try to be involved with it. I think academic communities can also give input to this. Second one, with regards to how is it Islamic financial services or other services as compared more expensive? I would say yes, because it involves a more risk management. It involves more ethical perspective, which is the parties and the components is not yet there, even though it's growing, because the players is not yet there. Because you can see this is just a supply and demand. If the supply are there, the pricing can be adjusted and all. But again, the players right now is so small, and the resources right now is so small. And again, we all can be part of it to grow this industry. And later on, I believe that the cost will getting so much low. I think that's from my perspective, Ustaz Fajar.
Okay.
Hopefully can answer the question. Thank you so much.
Okay, anytime, Mr. Ramayarindra. And move to another participants. We have from Mrs. Martini Dwi, to Dr. Hafaz Furqani. The question is, we know that financing is the main problem faced by small medium enterprises. What do you think the opportunities and challenge faced by IFI to introduce fintech in small medium enterprises, since they are also known to have less digital literacy? Dr. Hafaz Furqani?
Thank you very much for the questions. And this is very important question, because if we see numbers of companies, SMEs is higher than the big companies. And if we also calculate how many workers in the SMEs, is also bigger people in Indonesia working in SMEs rather than those who are working in the multinational companies or bigger companies. And that's why we have to help the SMEs. So people economy or economy kerakyatan is very important. So how we can help SMEs? Because SMEs, as we know, that have a lot of lacks. Lacking in first is lacking in capital. SMEs lack of capital, and then lack of human capital as well. So that's why we have to help SMEs. So AFSI must help SMEs to grow and to develop SMEs. And the government themselves also, they need to develop SMEs. So if SMEs is unable to develop their own fintechs or their own applications, so the SMEs have to work together to develop a common platform for them, and they can share this platform, use it together. Or in another way, the government also can set up a platform of fintech platform for the SMEs, so that SMEs just use it for their own business. Yeah. So what I mean is that government just with their own, they have, because the government have a lot of money, the government can just set up platform, and then the SMEs in Indonesia can just use it, yeah, rather than the SME develop the technology or the fintech by themselves, which is will take very high cost. Yeah? And if possible, also APSI can develop a certain platform for SMEs, and then SMEs can just join it and use it as their common platform. I think that is the solution.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Hafaz Furqoni. Yeah. And there was participant again to Mr. Dr. Khairul Umam from Mr. Ahmad Hayat. Yeah. Let me help to facilitate. Yeah. The question is, continuing the Orientalist question to Sheikh Mutawali Sha'rawi, then what kind of belief model is actually implemented by Western civilization today so that they seem to have discovered what is called sabila in the context of developing world life? And to what extent can we take lessons from the persistence of the West in the regard beyond the issue of worldview differences? Dr. Khairul Umam.
Okay, thank you, Brother Ahmad had very interesting and good questions. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
continuing the Yes, Mr. Ahmad Hayat.
Yeah. Very interesting. So the belief model that implemented by Western civilization, as I've mentioned before, but it's actually there are one part of the belief in the concept of belief that they are using. It is what they make the man is free to do, the man is free to be creative, to be innovative. It is why then they are talking economic system which is based on free market system and so on. Because of that, and then finally they can reach this kind of growing economic system. But again, this growing economic system has a very big cost on another side, which is the social cost, which is environmental cost. There are many costs that I have mentioned in another thing. So the concept of caliph is just taken as human to be free and then becoming humanism, and not again related to God, and then doing something in the just proper, in the just manner, and so on and so on. And when we are talking about Earth today, unfortunately, like for example, when we are discussing Islamic economics, we forget the essential economic system which is developed, which is based on Islamic worldview, the Caliph concept, which is what? Which is the market system, which is the free market, which is the competitive market, which has been shown by Rasulullah from the beginning of he is doing economic system in Medina. Again, when we are talking Islamic economic, we forget this market. And again, market is the essential system of Islamic economics. And again, now we are just talking like another side of the market, which is the social one. Like just Islam is just about zakah, just about wakaf. And then when we are talking, when we have problem with the funds, with the market, which is financial system, market for financing. So we are trying to force zakah to become to finance. So it is of course not the Islamic concept. For example, zakah, what they are saying, zakah productive or whatever is that. It means that we are failed in creating our market, the three kinds of market that we understand: market for goods, market for capital, for finance, and market for for laborers. it mean what I want to say here. We have to we have to really understand again our concept, our basic concept, the fardu ain, and this main concept based on our Islamic value must then become the essential development in everything, in every fields of knowledge, in economic, in politics, and so on and so on. It is now, it is why we are now talking Islamization, but not giving ayah to the theories, but it is actually changing, knowing, understanding our Islamic worldview, what is the different, the real difference between our worldview and another worldview, and based on this our Islamic worldview, how we see the theories from another worldview, derived from another worldview, and what can we take and what should we develop based on our Islamic worldview. By this, so we can really taking back the best that has been developed, taking back that have been developed by the West, like market and so on, and bring back to our system. For example, in the market, we have competitive market. This is why Rasul forbade us to have price intervention, for example. But again, our free market, our competitive market is based on a just, it must be in a just way. There is no dhulm. This is why there is the concept of hisbah, controlling the system not to be any dhulm, that to be in a just system. Compared to the West, they miss this. They miss the system, how to make this market is just. And then the market itself in the West is, there are many injustices, so it is why inequalities are very big there. And then how to solve the social problem, they have not really strong idea about that. We, Islam, has this very strong, but again, we need back to understand our heritage, Islamic worldview, understand our Islamic worldview, and we develop with knowledge, we develop economic, we develop politics, we develop everything based on our Islamic value. I think it is Ustaz Fajar. And thank you, Ahmad Hayat, for the very good questions.
Okay, thank you. Welcoming back, Dr. Khairul Umam. I'm so glad to stand between amazing people today. We discuss about our nation development, focusly on financial technology and Islamic social finance amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Finally, we come to the end of plenary session. We would like to say thanks again for all presenters for their informative and interesting talk. Before that, let me give closing statement from Mr. Rama Yurindra, from Dr. Hafaz Furqani, from Dr. Khairul Umam. The first closing statement from Mr. Rama Yurindra.
Thank you so much, Fajar. So my closing statement is, let's build together, let's collaborate together, let's do it berjamaah. We cannot do it alone. You know, AFSI is so small. I think I need so many people are participating here to collaborate with us. Reach me out. Hopefully you got some contacts for me. You can contact me on any other social media that you look. We need to collaborate with other people to make this ecosystem, Islamic ecosystem, Sharia fintech ecosystem, growing, and let's make Indonesia as one of the centerpiece for the Islamic economy. Look at capital market going to New York Stock Exchange. Hopefully next time when they looked at they're looking for a proper Islamic economy, they will look at Indonesia. Inshallah, hopefully we can do this together, and this initiatives, having the international conference is good. Hopefully we can grow this together, and everything is in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah. That's all. Jazakallah.
Wa yakum, Mr. Rama Yurindra. And Dr. Hafaz Furqani, please.
Okay, yeah. I would like to thanks to the committees for these invitations. And I would like also to thank to Faculty of Economic and Management Science for inviting UIN Araniri, especially Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Islam UIN Araniri to also co-host this conference and accepting our lecturers' papers and our student papers to be presented in this prestigious conference. And hopefully we can develop Islamic finance together, and we can develop this ecosystem, not only system, but we have to develop firstly ecosystem so that our system can grow. And inshallah we will work together in the next future times. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You're welcome, Dr. Hafiz Furqani, and move to the Dr. Herulman, please.
Okay, first of all, of course, thanks to Mr. Rama and Dr. Hafiz Furqani for joining us in this conference. And the last that I would like to say in this very Mubarak conference, inshallah, our basic belief, I mean the Islamic basic belief is will bring us to be always being a creative, innovative man, social oriented person, and we are very strong mentality in facing whatever we face in this life. But again, this basic belief needs to be implemented in every kinds, if it is individually, socially, jama'ah and so on. And when we have this basic belief, in Islamic basic belief, we don't have any discussion about to be in jama'ah, because it is, yes, we have to do in jama'ah. When we are anti-jama'ah, then we have a problem in our Islamic basic belief. I think it is my words. Thanks very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All right, I want to, as a moderator, want to highlight our today discussion. We are confident that zakat, sedekah, wakaf, and Islamic social finance can help bring grassroots, inclusive, and more resilient approach to development. And we look forward to working with all partners such as Asosiasi Fintech Syariah Indonesia, UIN Araniri Banda Aceh Indonesia, and also University of Darussalam Gontor to mainstream these tools to meet pressing needs and achieve the sustainable development goals. Thank you very much, Mr. Rama Yurindra from Asosiasi Fintech Syariah Indonesia, Dr. Hafiz Furqani from University Islam Negeri Araniri Banda Aceh, and also Dr. Khairul Umam from University of Darussalam Gontor. As a token of our appreciation, also their time and all of your valuable contribution, may I request a present applause to the guest speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fajar,
Okay.
Hafiz.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, and and to our beloved audience, may I thank you for your active participation in this conference. Hopefully you enjoyed program and presentation will be beneficial for everybody. Once again, thank you for attention. Barakallahu fikum. Me, Fajar Surya Arianggara, as moderator, as to permit. Welcome you back on the next FemFest International Conference on Economics, Management, and Business. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I give the session back to Master Ceremony, Brother Rega Fajar.
Well, many insight we can generate from these sessions. Thank you, dear moderator and all speakers. Dear audiences, we really regret to say that the end of the plenary session means the end of FICCOMSS 2022. Furthermore, a series of programs in FemFest 5.0 will be ending soon. Before we end this event, we have some announcements regarding the winner at ESCO and Entrepreneur Days, as well as best paper at FICCOMSS 2022. Are you curious on who will be with us among the winner? Let us check it out together on the screen. 1, 2, 3. congratulations for all the winners at ESCO and Entrepreneur Days, as well as Best Paper awardee at FICCOMSS 2022. While for the other participants, please do not feel disappointed. Your effort will not be in vain, as they will give huge contribution to the development of Islamic economics, management, and business in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we are now at the end of this event. On behalf of the committee, I would like to thank you all with my gratitude for the participation and your enthusiasm in this event. Also, I apologize for all the inconvenience before, during, or even after the sessions. Have a nice day and see you at FemFest 6.0. Let's close by reciting Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Kafaratul majlis, Subhanakallahumma bihamdika, Asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaih. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.